Hello and welcome. We are with Rajkamal Vempati, the Head of Human Resources at ICICI Lombard. Rajkamal, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me here.
Let me ask you about, how can women participation increase in the workforce, particularly in the services sector?
See, essentially, if you look at the data today, at the ecosystem, what we have, obviously services and particularly banking and financial services have made great strides in establishing a career of choice for women. And in fact, where I come from, ICICI is known for its gender neutral policies and gender neutral ethos and work systems, which is what has ensured that women across generations have built their careers. But the question is interesting because despite whatever work we are doing in the ecosystem, there is still limited participation of women, and which is why networks like CII, what it has established, Indian Women Network in the Western region, help the cause. So, a couple of things I would like to mention in terms of what could be done further to increase participation. One is obviously looking at the college students and the students as such, mentoring them and looking at providing solutions to them so as to help them understand how do you build sustainable careers. Because we see, and if you look at the statistics, one of the things I would say is girl students should stick on till 12th, because after that again there's an inflection point where they drop out. The second dropout really happen even when they graduate out. I think half of the class possibly will get into any kind of organized employment, which leads us to the fact that it's possibly social conditioning and other things that challenge them. So, which is where we need to create those mentoring networks to kind of ensure that they enter the workforce. Once they enter the workforce, it is a question about how do you keep them on track to reach the middle management levels, because we are all aware of statistics where they fall off the track given the life stage events such as marriage, childbirth, and I am seeing another trend which is in anticipation of life stage events also women fall off the track. I guess flexible policies, a lot of supportive policies regarding childcare, fertility leave and all of that like we have in ICICI, help. But really speaking, ultimately my belief is at the root is the personal aspiration of the woman, which is what we need to kind of ensure it thrives. They aspire, they are relentless in pursuing their aspiration, and as ethos is truly gender neutral, I am sure far greater women will embark on their careers without those breaks. Because another belief that we also should recognize, people will log off and log on to their careers at certain intervals, but the point is the re-entry has to be, and the transition has to be a lot smoother to ensure that they stay on.
India is at that inflection point where it needs a lot of its women workforce to actually come and join in, but that's really not happening. How can this sort of change in the next 5 years?
I think we all of us, you, I sitting here and countless other women, we are actually part of the privileged few sitting here because we've had the education, we are financially independent, we are in a place where we can impact other women. So, which is where each of us, if we can go out there and look at providing solutions. So, be it giving our time in terms of mentoring students, as I said earlier, or also working on various aspects, as we were talking today, under these aegis of CI, we are looking at 3-4 services. Actually the theme and the pillars that we have brought about is enable, engage and empower. And all these 3 themes, first leg is about enabling women to get into the workforce, so there are the mentoring solutions. Empowerment is all about the personal self, which is where we are looking at health, health and wellness, financial well-being, legal services, and another interesting aspect is the entire safety security dimension, and looking at services where women are empowered with the knowledge and are in control of the choices that they make, And I guess engage is how we can all collectively give back to community and keep this entire give and get chain, virtuous cycle going on. I think also the interesting point, as you mentioned, is we are at an inflection point where marketers, organizations are also recognizing the fact that the half of the demographic is women, and you've got to reach out to this segment. So a lot is happening. It's up to us also to capitalize.
How well would you say quotas work, you know, in perhaps increasing women participation?
I think more than quotas, and it also is, you know, overlaid by my personal experience. More than quotas, I think it's a general, neutral ethos and work system which works. So truly speaking, you know, one of the reasons we women in ICICI have flourished, and I could say I've been a beneficiary of the system, is because of the fact that we truly practice you know, gender neutral policy, which is you're a professional, it's a tool to meritocracy, you go out there, perform, and that's it. Nobody's looking at you as a woman, man, and I think it helps also that it's run by a woman. Right.
Yeah.
So
and you know, the thing is that ICICI Bank is like one example, okay, and it stands out as an example as far as you know, women gaining leadership positions are concerned. But there is the rest of corporate India, which is on the other side. Do you think that you know, the rest of corporate India is actually encouraging women leadership, and you know, perhaps even creating this ethos that you're talking about?
Numerous instances are there, and pretty much all the organizations that we know, they have embarked on this agenda. See, I guess the point is also it has to be driven from the top. Change has to be driven from the top. So there are a lot of policy level initiatives, initiatives around changing their assessment methodology, leadership template, not templating the leadership dialogue per se, and how you assess people and potential thereof. You are looking at creating enabling systems and supportive networks within the system, so that you know, women flourish. People are also looking at creating those role models for people to aspire and vie towards. So I think a lot of initiatives are happening, and I am fairly optimistic with all these initiatives. I'm sure you know, we will see tangible results and impact in the near term.
Okay, how much of the ethos changes if a company is, say, professionally managed versus, you know, like a company which just has an owner promoter?
Again, as I said, it's driven from the top, but I think one of the interesting parts that we were looking even for our network was, one is obviously professionally managed organization, the other aspect is also family run businesses and entrepreneurs who want to impact in this space. So there is a whole lot to be done. It's also about not only engaging women, but it's also about engaging men in this dialogue. So the dialogue has to be continuous. There are no easy answers, and there are no simplistic solutions. You know, if you put one solution of, say, policy, would it really impact the metric? And not really, because we've all realized that it's a universally accepted challenge that corporates across the world have recognized. So I think we all have to collectively do our bit to ensure this.
Okay, 5 years from now, you know, how much do you see the woman participation in the workforce increase?
I can't say about the women participation, but I think through networks like this under IWN, we've taken aggressive targets in the first year. So we're looking at around 100,000 women to be reached out to in some way or the other and impacted. So essentially, if I were to look at 5 years, and I'm sure given the collaborative ecosystem that we are trying to nurture, the results will be many-fold and multiplied many-fold.
Okay, Rajkamal, thank you so much for joining us, and all the best.